file handling. It means that we want to store a data at somewhere. And to store a data, the very first storage is a file handling. Okay. We generally know what is a file and use of file as well. If you want to define a file, how you define the files? Like, what is a file accordingly? How you define that file?
A file is a
Hmm?
object which holds information or any data.
Yeah, just which holds information, right? So there are different kind of files, maybe the Excel file, PDF file, text file, but every files holds the information. Hold information. Okay. And what are the normal operation we are done with the files? File operation. What are the operation we can do with the files?
We can print, we can
Print, yes.
ask
Then,
input and out.
yeah. I mean, generally, very first thing that we need to open the file to do any kind of operation. We have to very first we have to open that file, right?
Yes,
This is one of the things. And once we open, then again we can close that also file. These are the two basic operation. Either we are opening, or if that is open, then we are closing file. Okay. But after opening, what the operation we are performing? So that also we need to list. Sometime we can create the new file, right? If there is no file, we can create the new file. And sometime we can read the file. If there is already data is present, you can read the file. Sometimes if there is no data, we can write the data on the file. Either we can read, either we can write. If there is no file, either we can create. So there are two operations. One is a write and second is an append. So basically, these are the operation which we need to perform on any particular files. So we can able to create the files. We can write the file, read the file, append the files. So these are the operation we need to perform on some files. But to create or to perform this kind of operation, there is a syntax. Let me write some syntax here, basic syntax. So the same syntax we can use for all the file operation. The very first, you have to take one of the objects, any object, for example, f is equal to open. Very first parameter you need to find is the file name. Okay. The first parameter is a file name, and the second parameter is nothing but mode. It's called a mode. What do you mean by mode? So there are different modes. For example, you want to create the file, there is a called mode X mode. Okay. For reading, it is an R and read mode. For the write, there is a W mode, and to the append, there is called A. So these are the different modes which you need to perform with the file. So if you want to perform any operation, firstly we need to write one of the object is equal to open, some file name, then the mode. Yep. And there are different functions. So if you want to read a file, so firstly we need to create some file, we need to write some file, and then we can read. So read mode have a read function. This is read data. If you want to write something, then there is write the function is there. Okay. For the append also we can use the write. For the both, it is a common. Okay. To create is also the function, which is X mode is there. Means simple operation we need to perform. We want to create some files. We can put some file data into that files. We can read that files, and we'll see the difference between the write and append as well. In general, it is very simple. If you are using a write operation again and again, so write what will do, it will overwrite the previous data. In some file, I'm writing some data, and again, I'm writing the same other data on the same file. It will be override the previous data. But append will keep on attaching or adding the new data to the old data. Good. So these are the basic things we need to perform with the file. So we'll start with the creating files, or then reading files, writing files, and the appending files. And then we'll perform one of the some task based on the files. So the copy data from one file and the paste data into the another file. So this kind of operation we can easily perform. So let's see the very basic operations. For that, this is a syntax we already written. So very first thing what we are going to do, we can create our own file. So before that, let me open the position where we have saved all the related files. If you see this, so up to now we have this much file. Yes, like 12, 12, 12, 48, more than 55 files we have. Now I'll we create one more file here. So one of the extra file will be get created here. But we want to create the file programmatically, not by manually. So what we'll do, I can create the new Python file here as usual. File, new file. I will save this file as within our same documents where we have document here. So fl.py. It's a fl1 file one. Okay. To create the file, simple syntax f is equal to open. Then need to write the file names. So let me create my suresh.txt. And we want to create. And for creating, which mode is there? Which mode for create files? X. Okay. You can simply write here X mode. That's all. This is only syntax. So it automatically create the file. Right. So create file. So I can write the message here. If file create success. A file CRAT create success. SUCCESS. Okay. If you simple execute this file, so we'll get the message as file create success. But how are you gonna check? You can go with our own location and you can find here. Okay, so one of the extra file is added, but it is already sorted by the ABCD. So you can see here name Suresh. Yes, this is a file, right? It's created. It's today itself. You can see the date 9:59 p.m. 16/5/2026. Perfect. So in this way, we can create the files with the help of the command called the X mode. Okay, perfect. Now, what will happen if I create the same file again? Either it will be override or it will throw error. What do you think? Hmm? If I'm creating the same file again, so what it will throw errors, or it will create, or it will override the previous file. Yes,
So you
error. What kind of error it will throw? It will throw files already exist. Simple, right? File exist error.
yes,
Okay. And in last session, we have done the one of the exception handling, right? So we know that how to use the exception handling. What should I do? I can put simple into
try.
try and the expect. block so that it will be handle the error. EXCEPT except exception as any object name. This you can print simple object. Now instead of error, it will throw the proper exception. Like there is an error, file does not exist, or file exists. There is already the same name file is exist. Okay. So whenever you have doubt to have there is an chances of an error, put that code into the except and try catch. Simple. Okay, this is the first operation that we have done for the create file. CREAT, create a file. Now, second operation, what are you going to do? We can write operation will go. Okay. If you open that file, there is a no data is there. If you see this simply, it is a 0 byte show, right? Now, I'll just comment out this and I'll create one more new file. So in same file, I'm going to write. Now I want to perform the write operation. Write operation. So if you want to write data on some file, so you must be first open that file, right? So this is the same syntax. F is equal to open. So we need to write the same file names. If I'm writing a other file name, it will again throw the error that file does not exist. But to perform write operation, which mode should we use here for writing? For creating, we have X mode. And for writing data, which mode we have written? W, right? So you can go here, W. And you can write any data. So to write any data, so for that we can store data or somewhere, or we can directly write f dot. There is a function called write. You can see the list of files. See, okay, write. Okay, so you can put any data. So let me add some data here. Today is Saturday. Okay, fine. And let me write a date also. What is the date today? 16th 5. Right. 16th May 2026. Fine. And whenever you're performing a write or read operation, you must close that file. F.close, close. Okay. Before closing, we can write one of the messages, that is file return success. print print file return or write success. Write success. SUCCESS. Okay, let me execute this. You get the message as file write success. How are you going to check? We can go to that root location. Now, if we try to see that file, there is a 30 byte we can see, right? You can open this. So we exactly got the data that we have written. So today is a Saturday, 16 May 2026. Okay. So this is how we can write the data. Now we can find the difference between the write mode and the append mode. Okay. So just assume now, as of now, there is a file. The data is called today is a Saturday, 16 May 2026. So if I'm going to replace this data, suppose assume that I'm writing something. So just I'm writing the date 16th May 2026. If I run this file, it will run again. But the problem with the write operation is it will override the previous data. it will remove all the previous data available and the new fresh data will be get added. Okay. So this is it's a risk of losing the previous data. It will override all the older data with the new data. Fine. Now, how the append works? The same thing we have to perform. Everything will be the remain same. Just instead of W, you can write A mode. Okay. And what will changes? You can find that can change. So let me write append operation. Hello. You understood na? Two operation, create and the write. I can write F is equal to open same file suresh dot txt, comma, the mode is A, and the rest thing you can write as it is. F dot write write. So now I can write here like some face tomorrow. Tomorrow is Sunday. Okay. Now see, I am performing the write operation only, but the mode is CLOSC. The mode is A, right? Now I can see the observation. What we do. File append success and give the message. File append SU double C double S. File append success. Right? So I'm writing the data tomorrow is Sunday. If it is a write mode, so only we can get the message tomorrow is a Sunday. But as it is in append mode, so you can find here tomorrow the Sunday is also printed and the old data is also there. It is not get removed. Okay, this is the power of appender. It will keep all the previous data. Okay. Python live class. Let me check. Now I can open that text file again. See, Python live class. So always prefer the append mode, which will save our previous data. Okay, all three operation you understood? Creating file, writing data into files, and the appending data into files. All of this clear?
Yes, sir.
CREAT, create file. Now, the one operation is pending, and that is nothing but how to read data from the file. Yeah, it's a simple. You just go into the file. I can store here like FRD. Okay, file read. So the object F is equal to open, you should write here. And you can write, suppose I'm writing txt test dot txt. So, txt in the read mode. Okay. And writing the f dot p. Either I can directly store this data into some of the variables, or I can directly use f dot read in the print statement as well. That is possible. But if I try to perform the operation, it will throw errors. File does not exist. File not found error. So what are you going to do now? We can put this code into the try catch block. Try this is a dash expect except exception as e. This here and the print e. So it will now properly give the error. No such a directory called test.txt. What's the file name? File name is suresh.txt. suresh.txt. See, all the data that we have written is now printed. Yes. See all the operation that we have seen here, creating file, reading file, writing file, appending files. So this all mode XRWA. So this is what the mode is R, and this is XWA. These are the four most commonly used operation can perform on any particular files. Right? Understood? It's easy, not that much complex. Clear?
Yes, sir.
All operations, read write operation. Okay. So based on this, I will provide you one of the tasks, and that task you have to perform. And what is the task? I will tell you. Should very carefully you have to perform the task. So the task is assume that there are two files. Assume that is abc.txt, abc.txt. So this is one of the file. Okay. And assume that there are one more file called cpy, cpy.txt. Okay. So I want to copy, suppose the text file contains some data. Okay. Your task is to be copy data from txt to the cpy.ps. Okay. Copy data from abx.txt file. Okay. And you have to paste and paste in cpy.txt. Okay. This is your task. How are you going to perform this task? Yes. Tell me some ideas so that I'll just whether you can do it or not.
The file name.
You have to copy the data from
Yes.
abc.txt and paste it to this file. So how can I do this? Just tell me the flow. If you are okay with the flow, then you can perform this. See, simply you have to create two files here, right? So assume that you are creating one of the abc.txt, that as you are creating here, right? You already created some file. You can see this, right? We are also writing the data. So you have to perform first create files, for example, abx.txt, and then you have to write some data to the file. And second job is to be, you have to copy the data from the first file. If you are copying data from some file means what? Simply you are reading the data from the abx.txt file, and whichever the data it will give, and the same data you can write to the cpy. As of now, what we are doing, we are writing data to the this file directly. If your copy paste means what? Instead of writing data like this, you can read data first from the other files, and the same data whichever you read it, you have to just write into that file. Means just imagine now as of you are reading the data from txt dot this files. I want to copy this data into the another file. So what should I do? I can firstly create one of the new files, and within that file, I can put this data. For example, let me show you some of the hint. Suppose double ff is equal to open. Let me write one of the cpy.txt file, but I should open it in which mode? The W. So I can write here ff dot write, WRITE write. But which data I want to write? The data. Means copying data from suresh.txt to the cpui.txt. Simple. So you can just give the message that copy data success. COPY, copy data SUCC success. Let me run this. You can come to know. See the copy data success. We already have all the data in the suresh.txt, but now we already created one more called a CPY. You can see that A, B, C, B, 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 CPY this. Okay. It is not copied, right? Something, yeah. Why it is not copied? Because we not perform the closed operation. We have to close that file also, right? fa.closc, close fclosc. I can perform one more time. Yes. Now I can open that files. Same data. Right? Copy paste means what? We are reading data from particular files and same data we're writing to the other files. Perfect. So these are the file operation that you have done. You can also try with your own logics. Okay. Same thing you have to perform.